Hey Mavericks, welcome back. Over the past few years, I've spent a ton of time finding the best ways to help role-playing gamers, aspiring dungeon masters, and dedicated D&D players rapidly increase their confidence without the stress and overwhelm that's usually associated with learning to become a sought-after dungeon master. Now, I've been through every YouTube channel, D&D book, and Reddit forum you can think of in order to keep growing and improving in this one area. And it's become an obsession. Why? Well, because I was once stuck at the beginning myself. I was facing lack of confidence and overwhelmed with the rules. I was trading away spare time, trying to get everything figured out. And I just wasn't sure what to do next. So you see, when I first started, I thought I needed to invest in every single book released in order to know all the things a DM needs in order to run a D&D game. And I thought I had to read every single page of all three of the core rule books, and I needed to know every single spell, all the character classes, and every other little rules nuance you can think of. And it just drove me crazy. So over time, I found there are really only a few places you need to focus on in order to avoid the overwhelm that comes with the rules of the game. So I've cracked a code and turned all my lessons into what I call Dungeon Master Foundations. And one key piece of this 9-step process is the Dungeon Master Toolbox. And one of those 3 resources in the toolbox is a cheat sheet I put together to remind me what rules are most important to know at all times when I'm running a D&D game. I call it minimum viable rules. And here's what it looks like. Let's take a look. As you can see, I put together the top most essential rules and I listed them in order of priority. So the first one, of course, is going to be ability checks and ability scores. This is what the game is based on. It's the core mechanic. You roll a dice to find out the results. So that's the most important rule. It's rule number 1. Second to that is combat. And that's because when we're playing a D&D game, combat is definitely an element of that, as well as the armors and weapons that go along with that combat. So 2 and 3 will be combat related things that you need to know rules around. The fourth order of priority is spellcasting. And since this is a world of magic, we're going to need to know how characters and or NPCs, monsters are using spells. And again, we don't need to know every single spell. We just need to know how spells work, and that's only 4 pages in the player's handbook. The 5th is character creation, and again, you don't need to read every single rule about every single character class. You only really need to know the characters that your current party is playing. Eventually, you'll get enough experience to know the classes without having to look at the rules. But when we're first starting out, it's easiest just to go with the classes that your players are using. Last but not least, 6th in priority is just the introduction of the monster manual. You don't need to read all the stats of every monster. You really only need to know what happens with certain rules like blind sight and true sight. Telepathy is in there. Those rules aren't in any other place, so this is the only place you can find it. That is what I would call my top 6 essential minimum viable rules. Now, this single cheat sheet helps me run a game session without boring downtime, and it allows me to have that confidence to run D&D sessions because I don't have to go running and looking at the rules. So if you think this idea will help you with your Dungeon Master journey, go ahead and click the link below and grab your free copy. And I'll see you on the next video.